Hello, welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander with Bona Adhesives.
I'm Rob Johnson from the Bona Training.
How we doing, Rob?
Pretty good. Afternoon, buddy.
Good afternoon to you too. I'm really excited about today's show. This guest has been on with us before, and this is Matt Garcia with Craftsman Hardwood Floors. And he's a unique company holding regard for customer service, integrity, and attention to detail. He's an owner-operator, a third-generation contractor, as a matter of fact, and over 17 years experience, probably 18 now. I don't know, Matt, who's counting anymore. A former Floor of the Year winner, as a matter of fact.
Oh, Floor of the Year.
There,
I hear it.
there it is. Yeah, yeah.
We should be playing another song. One of these kids just doesn't belong here.
How we doing, Matt?
Doing pretty good.
Good. And you remember Rob Johnson? You're from before. For HR reasons, we still have Rob with us.
It's still in litigation.
Still, he's in that age group. It was just tougher
litigation.
tougher to fire than we thought. So anyhow, how are you doing, Matt?
What's this we?
Sorry.
We stuff. You're still on the corporate stooge team. Oh,
All
okay.
right, I am. Well,
Yeah.
pays better than your team. So
No, I feel your guys' sentiment.
well, Matt, there's be a 100 different reasons to talk to you, and I know there's a lot of different directions we could go. You're an interesting guy, and we'll get into some of the other stuff. But one of the reasons why we wanted you to have you on the podcast is you have a unique way of installing herringbone floors, where you panelize the herringbone before you install it, and I've never seen it done that before. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it done before like that, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, it seems like. And so first of all, why don't you describe this technique and why you've come across this technique?
Yeah, we do a lot of herringbone accent areas. A lot of people don't want herringbone in their whole house, but they want, a room. We do a lot of entryways in herringbone. And so, panelizing those areas, really, it kind of helps speed up the process and make it a little bit more efficient. Just because it opens up different ways that you can be more efficient. And, even just for training people, it really shows them, kind of the method in stages and, kind of like in pieces. And, we have just found that panelizing them up before made the layout a lot easier. And a lot of the misconception is people think that you lay it twice. And, I did this demonstration at the Bona convention, and, you can actually dry fit it really quickly, especially a lot of the engineered wider plank stuff. Because you're not trying to tediously line it up. The real struggle, anybody that's ever done a lot of herringbone is, you want it to be on a 45 tight and straight on your layout lines. Well, when you're doing individual pieces, like, you bump one and, it's moving around on you, or even if you're nailing, you nail one slightly off. Well, you got to try to adjust your pieces back. And I think that's what people miss a lot, is that you're not doing all that micro adjusting, because when you panelize it together, you're essentially, if you get it tight, you're going to be on a 45-degree angle and it's going to be tight. And then what we do is we line up the entire panel to our layout lines. So you're working in a big section rather than, tediously trying to get each piece, because there's going to be variances in your pieces, right?
Yeah.
And, for one, it allows you to find, the pieces that aren't great. And it's going to also allow you to, correct it before it's actually in the glue or nailed in. So I think what people don't realize, there's a lot of advantages to it that you wouldn't really think about at first glance.
What's the largest panel you guys have done now? Because it seems like they're getting bigger and bigger. I'm like, oh, it just can't get any bigger than this, man. But and it's amazing how well it's just held together by blue tape, and no other means. You're not gluing those panels together; they're just held together by blue tape until you place it. How big is the biggest one you've ever done?
North of 100 square feet. We did a entire entryway that had a border, and it was, gosh, that one might have been closer to 150 feet, because it was about a 10 by 15 um, area with, minus the border. So we're getting pretty close to about 150 feet on that one. And I even, I've been teaching the crew how to do this, and they've been getting, a little bit bigger cojones each time. And I told them on this one, I said, hey, this one's a little too big. Just because what we'll do is because like on that one, what we did is we dry fit it on that foam, for track sawing.
Yeah.
That way we could just cut right through it real easily. So we laid foam out. We keep that foam for this purpose for templating and things like that. But if an entryway's got a border, you really just length times the width and squared up, right? I mean that's what you're looking for to do a border. And so I told him, hey, just panel it, basically make three panels. It was a bigger, wider herringbone, so it'd be like three sections. You
Yeah.
know, go ahead and panelize it and just tape it to where you can pull it apart in the three sections, and then it'd be pretty easy install. Well, they went ahead and track sawed the whole thing, routed it, and splined it for the border, and well, it holds together pretty dang nice when it's all routed and splined and track sawed. And so they actually put it on. I didn't think about it. They leaned it up on end, put it on dollies, dollied it
Wow.
into that entryway, set it down, and what they did is they glued half of it, leaned it down kind of at about a 45-degree angle so that they could glue the second half of it, and then they leaned it down the rest of the way, and it was beautiful. I mean, way easier than you would have ever thought. To do it that way, just and really all we did is we still have our control line down the center, and what we do is we just mark the panel and we run a laser
Yeah.
over that control line. So
Yeah.
you lay the whole panel down, you can ship the entire panel right on the line, and it's super easy to get laid out.
I mean, it almost feels like cheating to me watching you guys do it. And I think probably what I like, one of the best things I like about it is, and I've seen you do it, and you've talked about this, where you'll put the spine down, or you put down a section, but with you new apprentices or guys that are inexperienced or whatever in the herringbone floor, as we all know, it's kind of like, all right, not a lot for them to do to be productive, but you talk about that, how you can have them stay productive at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, they can. You can teach them really quickly how to dry fit a panel and tape it up. And that way, you know, the more experienced craftsman can just inspect it and just look at it and see. But it's also a lot easier for them to catch things because it's not as consequential at that point. And so you're giving them a really easy way to learn the process, and keep them productive on the job site, because if they're going to get really fast at doing that one thing. And I think that that's what people don't realize is, when you break it down into pieces, and you allow, a new apprentice to panelize, well, they're going to get actually really good quickly at panelizing. And then the craftsmen, they could be laying those large square footage panels, um, you know, 20, 30 feet at a time. And, if it's like a big room, we'll just, make it into manageable size panels. And it really does speed up the process because you're systematizing it.
Well, and that's like you could have guys apprentices off to the side doing their own panels, right? Doing their own thing. And so they're being very productive while the other guys are, you put them in glue and whatever. So everybody's got a job. I think that's fantastic. And you actually made a video of this on Facebook. And that's, is it Facebook? Yeah, it was Facebook.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it went viral over a million views. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like 1.2 million views altogether. And you could tell that Facebook actually, what they'll do is they'll cap it at a certain amount of views, because you could tell right when it hit 1.2, it flatlined out. And what they'll do usually is they'll bring it back. They call it, like media fatigue. They don't want people seeing the same thing over and over.
Uh-huh.
And so sometimes what they'll do is they'll shut it down for a little bit. But knowing that it got a lot of views, they might. I mean, there's no telling when they would do it, but from what I've read, they'll turn it back on again.
So think about 1.2 million people watching your video. I mean, that's astonishing to me. And
Yeah.
Rob, maybe we should read some of I mean, anytime you can put that many,
No,
yeah.
no, no,
Let's read the
no,
fan
no,
mail.
no, 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 no. You don't want to go there. You
No?
know, Bum, a couple years ago, Bum said to me, boy, that T-bar video you made got a lot of hits. I go, really? I wasn't really paying attention to it. He goes, yeah, you got ton of he goes, I'm blown away. So I brought it up and I started reading the comments. And when I started reading the comments, he could tell, look at my face. He goes, Dad, don't read the comments. Whatever you do, don't read the comments.
Well,
And I was like, man, people are freaking mean, you know. People are He goes, they're not all bad. I go, yeah, but they hurt my feelings.
You
And he's
know what's
like,
funny? Yeah.
don't worry about it, Dad. He goes, people tend to be a little bit negative. And after reading yours, I feel awesome.
Yeah. You know what's funny? One of the crew members, he got a little upset about all the comments, and one of the guy that's actually in the video, he wasn't that worried. I don't care. I think that they're funny actually. Um, Even though that they're mean, I still think that they're funny. But the wife of one of the crew members, she was on there, Facebook arguing with these people. I told her, I said, don't waste your breath. These people, go look at their profiles, and you'll see why they comment this stuff.
that's a losing battle, arguing with them on when you got 1.2 million people out there. Well, let's read some of the fan mail you got. I'll start with the first one, Robin. Maybe you can you can pick one out. There's so many to choose from.
Oh my gosh, this
Here
is
we go.
awesome. Yeah.
As a dog trainer, I can assure you this is not the way. Even I know that.
Real
Unbelievable.
expertise.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
dog trainer. You imagine that? Are you gonna jump on his site and that's how you train dogs? Really? I find him. I'll go on his site. I'll mock him. I'll stick up for you. I like this one. Craftsman, more like Crackman. This guy's on meth. Gee.
Let's see.
So
Let's see.
that's actually the one that the my one of the guy's wife, she did not like that one very much.
So far, that's my favorite when I was reading through
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
Let's see.
That guy is actually a framer, by the way, just for context.
The guy that said that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, you gotta love
Yeah.
that.
There's a reason why you're outside the house, brother.
yeah.
Uh, let's see. This is not how you install hardwood floors unless it's carpet. These two are not doing this correctly, and I'm sure there were problems after.
I don't even know where to start with that one. I mean, yeah, I've never seen herringbone carpet like that. I don't know. That's very interesting.
This is what happens when you hire Beavis and Butthead to do your flooring.
All right. Now, this one,
My gosh.
this one even got hurt me a little bit. I quit doing flooring work because I got sick of working with meth addicts. This is an accurate representation of the weird stuff they try to pull off on company time. Should be good for 2 or 3 years tops. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But I'll tell you something. First of all, like I said, your reputation and your craftsmanship, you don't need anybody to defend. You're phenomenal, and I think the world of you, and a lot of people do. You guys do fantastic work down there, man. And your dedication to the craft is and the business is second to none. Um, but I'll tell you, anytime you try to do something different, anytime you try to do anything different in an industry or change anything, you're going to be met with skepticism and rejection and all that kind of stuff. What was it? J.K. Rowling that wrote that Harry Potter books. She went around to publisher after publisher after publisher, and everybody closed the door on her and said, "No, no, no, that's not going to work. You'll never be able to sell that. It's never going to happen." And she didn't fit the in the box everybody wanted to put her in, and obviously we know she sold 500 million copies of books. So, um, Starbucks, when the guy started Starbucks, they actually started out as a really unique small coffee shop, and they said, "No, you can't change this business model. It's not going to work, blah, blah, blah." And look, we see what it's done, what Starbucks has done. So, I actually think that's one of your strengths. So you said some of your guys were like upset about it or whatever. or their wives were, and you just blow it off and think it's funny. I mean, I think that shows a lot of your strength that you don't get upset about stuff like that when they're, we all come across obstacles and stuff like that and rejection or stuff, kind of negative energy. And there's two ways you can handle it. You know what I mean? And I think it kind of blows my mind when I seen you do this for the first time. I thought, holy smokes, man. I mean, I kept watching it, and because I know it's got to be a time saver. And like you said, you can reject boards before you're committed to doing them. You keep your guys busy, and I just think it's fantastic, man.
I don't know if it's a time saver, Wayne, because one guy said, yeah, that's cool, but you're probably doing it 50% over. You're redoing it 50-50, maybe 50-50, he said.
I love when you look at the backgrounds of the comments, like what do they do for a living? Like you said, the dog trainer, the framer, and people that I mean, none of these people are from the industry, but they're all experts.
Yeah, one of the experts that commented some crazy comment. I looked up his profile, and he cleans up poop off people's yards. That's his business. I was like, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, but he's probably one of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I could read these all day. You didn't even back butter the tiles.
Hey, that is one question I have for you though. That on a
Definitely.
serious.
Oh, that was one Wayne wrote. Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry, man. I thought it was under anonymous. I couldn't spell it. Hey, that is one question I have for you though. When you put a panel together like that and you're troweling out the floor, um, each herringbone is individual, but you're putting down a whole section now. Does the subfloor have to be flatter now? You know what I mean? Or you have to be more concerned about that because you're putting down this big panel that, like a wide plank floor. Wide plank floor doesn't handle the rolls and the undulations of a subfloor as well as say a 2 1/4 or a 3 inch board will. You know what I mean? Because it's one big panel. So is that a concern?
We haven't ran into it. We prep to industry standards, and it's always seemed to do fine. It as long as it's flat within standards, I wouldn't say that you have to do extra prep because we're just face taping it anyway, so it would still have its normal range of fluctuation in the subfloor. As long as it was within standards, it has always seemed to be fine. So I wouldn't say that it would really affect it one way or the other anymore.
Okay. How long are you waiting before you pull the tape off of it?
I don't like leaving tape on any more than one day,
Okay.
just in case. There's usually a time limit on the tapes, and I don't like to push it, and
Yeah.
so we'll try to use like a painter, like a delicate painter's tape. The wider tape is better. I always tell people the narrow tape actually doesn't work that good.
Okay.
One of the comments said it was actually saying that I think it looks pretty cool as long as you're on the layout line and it didn't come apart. Kudos for ingenuity. But if it had popped apart, you would have had a disaster. And I think that's what people think. And I will say we use the 2 inch wide. I have used the more narrow style, like the 1 inch before when I was still kind of testing it out, and it actually is a significant difference. I've never had the 2 inch tape blow out on me, even with the 100 square foot panels. But that 1 inch tape, it makes a significant difference. So if anybody tries this, and there's a Wood for Business magazine article on this. It's called Herringbone Reinvented, and
Okay.
I go through the whole thing. So
Oh, beautiful.
if you want to go all the tips and tricks from apprentices, training them to do it, and kind of pros and cons. We don't panelize every single floor. I mean, it's really just whatever works best. So some materials just don't panelize as great, and some of them panelize wonderful. And so it's just a tool. I tell people it's a tool in the tool bag. And there's going to be certain circumstances where it's highly beneficial, and other ones where it's just kind of a wash, and maybe we'll do it or don't. And then some materials just aren't don't lend to it, and so it's just something that you can use depending on the circumstance.
That's what I was impressed by was how the tape held. I never thought in a million years tape would hold, but it's got to be the 2 inch. All right. Well, there's a good note for everybody.
Just we don't want to lose that point that the article is in the Hardwood Floor Business Magazine. You can look that up.
Yeah.
That it goes in. Matt goes into great detail on it. Like I could see like a closet where you have like a narrow closets or offsets and whatever. That's kind of a strange layout. It'd be great to like to do it for something like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we one of the most complicated ones that we did was maybe a 50 square foot wine room. It's like a little wine closet, more like, and it had cabinet cutouts and where it went under for like a wine fridge. I mean, it was ridiculously cut up. It's like a nightmare herringbone job basically. And so what we did is we made a paper template for the whole thing, and put the layout lines right on the paper, and then dry fit the whole area on the foam, and then set that template right, with the layout lines on the herringbone. And then we trace, all the cuts, and between a jigsaw and a track saw, we cut everything. Because with the nice thing too that we realized when you do that, we'll track saw all the wide open areas, and there's a bunch of little jogs and cutouts, and all we had to do is just lift that herringbone slightly and jigsaw out all those little spots. And that was really nice because we're going, well, we can't track saw these little these little cutouts, and we couldn't believe how easy it was just to lift it up a few inches and jigsaw those tight cuts. And so something that would have taken hours to do, just to measure and do all the cuts. I mean, you're down to minutes.
Well, that answers this guy. This guy says he's been laying floors 45 years and would never even consider this. Please give me just one valid. I said valid reason. There you go.
It sounds like he's a very open-minded person.
Well, I think you kind of explained it to him. You don't do it on every single job. You do it where it's going to save you some time. Why, the team's pretty cut and dry there for the guy who's looking for a valid reason.
Yeah, just one. Apparently he'd be happy with one reason.
I think we lost Wayne.
I see that. I don't know where he went. I'll text him real quick.
Okay. Yeah. When Wayne was saying about the comments you were getting, I said, I was watching one of the late night shows, and they had the star, the guy who was on or whatever, whoever it was, like Matthew McConaughey or something, reading his bad emails and text messages and stuff. It was a riot. So when Wayne was telling me this, I said, oh man, we got to see if he's open to that. We could have some fun with this because people are insane.
Yeah.
It just
really are.
it just blows me away how much time people take just to be a piece of
Yeah. Well, even some of the comments, they said that they came to the comments just to read the comments. Is more entertaining than the video was.
You know what? I'm guilty of that now. I am definitely guilty of that. I kind of do the same thing. I'll read an article or whatever and then go right to the comments just so I can start cracking up. People are nuts.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Hello.
There he is.
I don't know if that's ever happened before. All the power in the house went off.
Oh,
That's
wow.
bizarre. I thought for sure we paid the bill. I just the craziest thing I ever seen. Everything went off. So sorry about that. So speaking of the Wood Floor Business Magazine, man, I know you've done a lot of business articles on there too, like the Tradesman's Curse. I think there's like a 7-part series, which I would really encourage people to check that out because in this trade, it seems like if you're a great craftsman, the challenge is you can either be a great craftsman or you can make money. Or you can make more money, but then you lose on the other side of the business. So I thought your 7-part series, I think it's 7 parts. Am I right about that?
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would encourage people to really check that out too, because that's the challenge that we've all faced in this industry. And how would you overcome that, man? I mean, you a lot of times people say, well, I'm great at doing floors, but yeah, I don't like doing the business side, so I'll hire someone to do that so I can keep doing what I do and I can make money that way. Or the other challenge is that you ignore that side of the business because you're so busy on this side and you suffer in that capacity. So you've been very generous in sharing some of your thoughts about that, and maybe you can talk about that a little bit while we've got you here today.
Yeah, definitely. I read the book, the E Myth, and they talk about, whenever you're working on your business to try to make it duplicatable. Anything that you instill in your business to make it duplicatable because as if it was going to be franchised. And I don't really have an intent to franchise, but the point is that you want it to be good enough to be proud of it, because if you're proud of it, you would want it would be really effective for your business. It's almost kind of like a challenge. And so, I really started with that mindset. And what really led me down that path was I wanted to have my own product line. I wanted to have a showroom. I really wanted to give my client the best experience possible. And I also didn't want to be tied down by everything, because if you scale up and you don't delegate, it's just going to wear you out. It's not going to be enjoyable. And so, I could have either stayed smaller and run things more as a contractor, or really kind of venture out more. And so I really wanted to go for it, and it was a challenge. I mean, dealing with more overhead and more staff and more of the business side of things it was tough. And I really struggled to find resources to really help me solve all the logistical and business problems. And so I basically, as I solved things, I documented it, and got a lot of, I go to a lot of industry events. And so I try to be a sponge and learn from all the people, everybody. When you go to industry events and trade shows and things, there's somebody that has there's somebody there that has that particular thing dialed in. You know what I mean? Like, not
Yeah,
everybody has it all together, right? But
yeah.
somebody's really great at each
There's
thing, right?
pieces. Yes, yes.
Exactly. And so I really tried to gravitate towards, especially if I knew somebody in the industry is really good at this particular thing, I'd really pick their brain. And they're so giving and willing to share information. I wanted to do the same thing. So when we found something really great, I documented. And I'm killing two birds with one stone. I'm doing it for my business because I have to be able to train my staff and really have all my SOPs and everything dialed in. So it was really killing two birds with one stone, because I could write for the magazine on all the things that we already had done, and how we had problem solved our way through to be able to grow. And I know that that's a really big problem in this industry, is growing without it becoming a nightmare. And I mean, I experienced it. It is tough. And so any way that we could streamline it, I'm on board for it. And one other thing I'll mention too is I just got back from NWFA, and we just filmed a masterclass. It's going to be a new thing that they're doing for their university, and it's about I developed a program for I call it the performance technician program. So it's really about field management, performance-based systems for your employees, so that they're incentivized through pay and skills development and training. It's really packaging
Yeah,
a career path for them. And
yeah.
so that's going to be coming out too soon. I'm really excited about that, because that's going to be available to a lot of people
When you say that'll be available, how so?
through their online university.
Oh, sorry, you're right. You mentioned that. Okay. And for anybody that is not familiar with that, the NWFA, the online university, Definitely look it up, and that's one of the benefits of the NWFA, which I'm unashamed member of. Man, I say nothing but great things about that organization, and and that will be a fantastic, man. I will check that out myself. One thing that I've always liked about you, man, is that you're not always just trying, to raise yourself up, but you also your employees and everything as well. I mean, you want this to work for everybody. You know what I mean? And not just your employees and your business, but the industry. I mean, it's a great service. I mean, I'd say this whether you're here or not, man. So I know you're a humble guy, but you really do try to raise the industry up and for everybody. And I think that's very admirable for you to do that. Um, well, I read that ebook too, E-Myth book too. It's been about 20 years now. But one thing that I got out of that book that I've never seen many people be able to do in this industry is that they say in that book that to be a successful business, the business has to be able to run without you. There's not very many absentee owners in the flooring business. So not that you would want to be one, you know what I mean? But that was a big takeaway for me. Like, how could you have a business like this and have it run itself? I think very few people have ever been able to get to that level. I can think of a handful of people. I won't mention them, but I can think of a handful of people that may have been able to do that. But for the most part, it's very difficult to do that. And for small businesses, especially, it seems like you got to have your hand like that lady was making pies. And in fact, that's another great book. If anybody hasn't read the E-Myth book, I would definitely recommend reading that as well. I've talked about it before. When I read it, literally every single page I turned in that book, I was getting sick to my stomach because that book was that guy was describing me in that book. And so I think that's be great for someone to check that out as well. So
Did
a
you
lot of
just mention pie?
yeah, well, the deal in the book was the lady kept making pies. She was a great pie maker. Man, everybody wanted her pie. So she
Oh,
was
okay.
so she was making pies all the time, all the time. Then she wanted to scale up, but they wanted her pies, not someone else to make her pies. And he's trying to open up another store, and she was like on his treadmill. And I could relate to that because and at the time it was my business was Highlander Hardwood Floors. It's me and my two brothers. I always use that as hey, it's me and my two brothers. That's who's doing the work. Well, and pretty soon, if I want to grow, I can't use that hook anymore. It might be someone else that's doing the work or whatever. And now that, well, how do we get grow? That was my whole identity, and now it's got to change. So it was very interesting. It's a great book.
So then
Great
your
book.
brothers kicked you out of the business, and that was it. Bing. They were
Took
off and running. Good for them.
took the
Good move.
decision away from me.
Yeah. Hey Matt, what was the name of that you had just touched on that NWFA masterclass? What's the name of that
Yeah, so it's we
when it
just
comes
filmed it.
out?
Yeah, we just filmed it. They're doing some other masterclass too. That's going to go really good. The it's really awesome. They're going to be tying in the business. They're known for doing a lot of technical training, and they're really putting a lot into business training. And what we're trying to do is tie in the
Yeah.
technical side to the business side. That way, you can really maximize the benefit there. And so this is very new. Um, 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 they might be calling it. I'm not 100% sure exactly what it's going to be called. It's going to be a master class in the university, and it's going to be under their business section, I believe. That
Because
they're
a few weeks
so.
ago, Wayne and I did a podcast on employee retention and what you were just talking about, the incentive programs, and that was a big reason that a lot of guys leave. Wasn't really the money, it was like really don't know what my future is type of a thing. And that program sounds exactly like what we were talking about in that employee retention podcast we did.
Yeah, now that I think about it, they might be calling it competitive edge, which I thought really conveyed that over because it. What I like about it, everybody has the opportunity to win big, and it really like your retention and all that. People feel like you're taking care of them in their business, and you care about them and helping them win. Everybody wins.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So we're taping this on February 13th. Where are you taking your bride for Valentine's Day?
Oh gosh, we're actually leaving for New Mexico tomorrow.
You
And
are.
yeah, we're gonna stay there and go skiing and stuff. We're actually doing stuff with my wife's side of the family there. So
Nice.
it won't be too romantic, but it'll be a fun getaway.
Very cool. Yeah. I got a chance to meet your wife and your family, and you're really you're blessed, man. Got good people around you.
What are you doing, Wayne?
Well, actually, I'm going out to dinner tonight. Well, actually, wait a minute, that doesn't count. It's with my brother and his wife too.
There you
So
go. Yeah,
I
that a
actually
boy.
I actually called a little Italian restaurant, and but I called them 2 days ago, and they said the earliest we can get you in is 8 o'clock. Yeah, I'm not doing that. So I'm gonna have to do something between now and then. Matter of fact, I'll probably have to go get a card before the end of the night. So I'll do something.
Nice.
Yeah.
That a boy. Yeah, that's good. At least you're
Yeah.
doing something.
Yeah. Matt, one of the challenges is that for a lot of people that are starting, that are trying to scale up or whatever, when you have a business or even hiring one or two or three more people, is that nobody's going to care as much as you do on the job, and that's a tough one, and that's kind of a frustrating for a lot of guys, and it's something that you have to learn. I think when you start a business or get in business, that your expectations of other people and what you like, you could go into a job and go, yeah, this job I could get it sanded by the end of the day, no doubt, I know I could, but now you're having to put other people on a job and maybe that's not the same. So how do you handle that part of it?
Yeah, yeah, that can be tough, especially if you want to grow and you can't have your hands on everything. The way that we approach it, I have found that the best way is by building that culture of quality and um, so that they can they get it, and because if you take pride in what you do, that's really how you get people to do quality work. And a lot of that is um, we we do a lot within the business to celebrate wins, when we have meetings and stuff. And so I'm always telling them, wow, that was really incredible work that you did. Like really appreciate them for it. Cause like I said, I think quality is more of a cultural thing in your company. And so if most of your team, or at least the core of your team has that culture, everybody's going to want to try to meet that standard.
Yeah.
And so and we have a performance system that really, you have to work as a team. You got to be a team player with it, and because we do incentivize for productivity, but you got to meet our quality standards. So our quality standards are pretty high, and so we have a way of incentivizing it financially, because the way that we run our bonuses is, in order to get your bonus, you have to meet our quality standards. So really the first part is cultural. So we're trying to create that culture of quality, right? So everybody wants to try to be proud of what they do and get the accolades for it, right? I mean, none of them would say that they do it for accolades, but it's encouraging for them, right?
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
care who you are. Everybody wants an attaboy, and then I don't care who you are in life. And I think you're also, I believe that your passion rubs off on people too. If you're excited about something, you get excited about something, you have high standards. I think people around you see it, and they know that that's the expectations. I'm a big believer in that. I think you got the leadership from the top. I think makes a big deal. Means a big deal. And so how do you see 2025 looking?
Oh gosh, it's busier than ever for us right now. I mean, we're probably 90% booked out until May.
Till
And
May.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Holy
we
smokes.
historically this time of the year, we're usually low on the schedule. We always stay busy, but we're not usually that booked out. And so this year's been phenomenal. So, I mean,
Holy.
2025 is looking really, that gives, like what like to tell people, they'll say, how do you increase your rates? And I say, when you're booked out,
Yeah.
because you have to. I mean, you got to price yourself nearly out because you can't service everybody, and that's what really allows you to increase your prices. Because what keeps most people back is the mental block of, oh, I need the work, so they don't,
Yeah.
they're scared to. But
Yeah.
if you're booked out till May at the
Yeah.
beginning of the year, you
Yeah.
kind of got to do it for survival. You got to increase the rates.
Is there anything you want us to ask that we haven't hit on?
There's one thing I was thinking, jumping back to the herringbone penalization. I think part of it, and you'll like to hear this part, Wayne, is the glue down methods. I mean, it really opens up what you can do. Especially if you're used to glue to nail down. You don't think panels, and so gluing down enables you to do that. I came from California, big glue down market, and so I'm pretty well versed in it. So for me, it is natural. And that's probably why we develop things like the panelization. But when you have the ability to glue down entire panels, especially with how good the adhesives are getting, it totally changes the game on what you can do. And so I think a lot of times people need to consider new technology allows for different techniques and advantages, and it's up to you if to capitalize on that.
No, that's a really good point. And times are changing. Even the last 5 years in the industry, 5, 6, 7 years, the changes. I mean, we went around for 20 years and hardly any changing at all. And then it seems like the last 10 years, man, it just went off the charts. And that's what I was going to ask you. You reminded me. So the 1.2 million views and the other stuff you're doing on social media, what have you, what has that done for your business, if anything?
Yeah, it gave us a thousand followers, over 1,000 followers on our biz. Luckily, it went. You don't know when stuff's going to go viral, and it went viral on my business page, which is good. And I don't. It's kind of one of those things I like to be realistic about what that can actually do for you. A lot of those viewers are nationwide, so it doesn't help a ton there. But what it does is whenever you have something viral, there's two ways that Facebook will make your stuff visible, and that is if people organically like your content, or you pay them to boost your posts. So you can earn a lot of free publicity by giving your audience the content they want to see. So if your stuff goes viral, you just earn yourself a ton of boosting that you don't have to pay for, which is a nice advantage.
Wow, that's pretty slick. And the other thing too is you don't know what opportunities are coming from that yet. You know what I mean? Because someone may see that and go, "Oh, yeah, that's right. We're doing our house. We're not doing it until July, but let's keep this guy in mind. We'll circle back to it." So who knows what can come of it? I think Gary Horvath, when he did that set of stairs, I don't know if you know the ones I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
do. Yep.
yeah, I mean, he got like over 1 million views. You're the only second guy I know of that, and maybe you got more views than that one now, that have went over 1 million views like that. I mean, they did it, and they were like blown away. Like every few minutes they look at it, go, "Oh my God, it's another 20,000 people. It's another 40,000 people." So who knows, man? But congratulations on that, Matt. I mean, and thank you for sharing that with everybody. I mean, I talk about it a lot because I just think it's so cool. And I think it does really help the industry to find new techniques and new challenges and stuff like that. I think what you're doing on the with the business classes and what you're doing the NWFA, the articles in the Wood Floor Business Magazine, both of them are it just raises up the whole industry. And very cool, man. I really appreciate you making time out to get on the podcast. I know you got a million things going on in your life, and have fun. You skiing, you said?
Yeah. I haven't been in a long time, but the kids they all want to give it a shot, so we'll see how that goes.
And your knees will still hold up for that?
We'll
Good,
see. It's
good,
been a
good,
while
good
so
for
for
you.
me. So
All right. So Matt, before we let you go, you want to put your contact information out in case and you're actually very generous with your time. So maybe if you want to give your email address out and you feel free to do so.
yeah, my email address is matt@sanangelocraftsman.com, and you can find me on social medias, and my contact information is on some of the articles I've written and different things too. So you can find me on different channels.
Cool. All righty. Thanks
Hey,
again, Matt.
Matt, just remember, nobody gives an F about how you did that. First off, you installing floating floor, not tile. Second off,
That's right.
how many effing times did you waste doing this? I could have banged this out in about 45 minutes. My wife has a drinking
Yeah.
problem. I'm really sorry about that. I'll talk to her. There's no reason that Pauline should have wrote something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Take that with you, Matt.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, thanks.
All right. Well, thank you very much for making time for the podcast again, Matt. All the best for you, well, don't be a stranger. We'll be talking down the road.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
So this has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob and Matt Garcia. Please stay tuned for another episode.